It's the 21st of August and I'm Tom Glasson. Welcome to The Roast. Tonight, we look at the Great Barrier Reef and how we are rapidly turning it into a colourless husk of its once spellbinding self. You know, to be honest, I really don't care because I have the vision of a dog and only see in black and white. So welcome to my world, nature lovers. You are gonna be bored.
So what colour is this?
That's all grey.
And this?
That's a lighter shade of grey.
This?
It's Jean Grey. Tonight, the Barrier Reef is on its last legs thanks to dredging. But first, Mark Humphries with the headlines. By the way, nothing you show me will make me care about the reef.
You know it's where Nemo lives.
What? That adorable grey little fish? We have to save the reef!
New research suggests young people are far more politically engaged than traditionally thought, overturning the conventional view that young people spend all their time retweeting Tinders on their Discmans. Researcher Max Halupka says it's because young people are engaging in new ways and have a broader repertoire of engagement, which is academic speak for Facebook. The founder of activist group Our Say says more could be done to engage young people in politics.
You need to be changing the way in which government interacts with young people so that it's as easy to get involved in some form of political decision-making as it is to download a song off iTunes.
Make politics more like downloading music? Well, downloading music has done wonders for the music industry. Who's to say it couldn't do the same for democracy? Other age groups are also far more engaged in politics than previously thought, with the research finding that some school kids are so involved in politics they can even land a top job. Rubbish collection services have been halted in many parts of the country today, which will answer the question you've been asking all day: what's that smell? It also explains today's lack of people hanging off the back of trucks. One of Australia's largest waste management companies has had to ground its entire fleet, but collection services should return to normal soon, which will be good news for people who want to be violently woken up at 5 a.m. Many people are frustrated with the temporary delay, though if you think that's bad, I know of one bin which hasn't been emptied in decades.
What?
70-year-old Australian man Cyril Baldock has become the world's oldest person to swim the English Channel. Congratulations, Cyril. May your record stand for decades to come.
Mr. Baldock's record may be short-lived because 73-year-old Brisbane woman Irene Keel is also attempting the swim this week.
Irene! Mr. Baldock is unlikely to complete the swim again, meaning he'll now have to find a new excuse to cover himself in Vaseline. It took him 12 hours and 45 minutes to get from England to France, cementing the proof that they really need to bring back the Concorde. Smoking is to be banned in New South Wales prisons. About time. I, for one, am sick of going to prison and having a wonderful time ruined because I come out reeking of smoke. The ban comes into effect next August, and given that smoking withdrawal symptoms can be quite severe, the prisoners are in for a challenging adjustment period.
Need durries.
What? Oh no, not again!
Although the decision is hoped to improve the health of 10,500 inmates, the move has its critics.
Prisoners group Justice Action says it's a provocative move, akin to taking lollies from a child.
And we all know when you take lollies from a child, they establish a black market for lollies, and before you know it, children are smuggling lollies into schools inside various objects and cavities and selling them to other children, meaning kids will rob and attack other kids in an effort to get lolly money, because they're addicted and they need their fix. It's a total mess. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Thank you, Mark. And speaking of a total mess, the Great Barrier Reef, the most valuable thing located under the sea besides James Cameron, made an appearance on ABC's Four Corners program this week. And look, I know saving the reef's important and everything, but it just feels like it's been in danger for a really long time. They're not telling me anything new.
Once a year, after a full moon, the Great Barrier Reef puts on nature's most spectacular orgy.
I've seen better.
Massive amounts of the spawn goes absolutely everywhere, and then the ocean surface turns pink.
I stand corrected. So remind me again, why am I watching this fish sex tape?
In January, the body tasked with protecting the Great Barrier Reef approved a plan to dump 3 million cubic metres of dredge spoil inside the marine park.
Right, yeah, dredge spoil. We're killing the reef with dredge spoil. Yeah. So what exactly is dredge spoil? Is it some sort of coral lube, you know, for the spectacular orgy? Okay, so it's more like an ice bucket challenge for the ocean, where the ice is sandy, rocky black shit from mines, and instead of curing ALS, it's raising money for the owners of those mines. But look, besides how it looks, what it's made of, what it does to the environment and how it tastes, dredge spoil probably isn't that bad. Otherwise, they wouldn't have approved dumping it in the reef.
The dumping approval also comes as scientists are confirming a link between port dredging and deadly coral disease for the first time.
Oh, right, so the downside is it might kill the coral. But on the upside, the night before they dump that dredge spoil, you can bet those coral are gonna like it's the end of the world. So what's the disease they're gonna get?
White syndrome is basically like, you can think of it as if the skin started falling away from your hand, moving down, just leaving behind your bone.
Okay, sure, that sounds bad, but why do I care if the coral lose their hands?
The Great Barrier Reef is worth $5.4 billion a year to the Queensland economy and supports 67,000 jobs.
Oh my God! The Queensland economy is gonna have to rely solely on the big pineapple. Now don't get me wrong, it's big, but it's not that big.
Also, it's ruining one of the most amazing ecosystems on the planet, Tom. You money-obsessed dick.
No, of course, but I only know it's amazing because its monetary value is so high. Now, you don't just dredge the world's largest coral reef, a heritage-listed marvel of marine science, without a really good reason. So the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority brought in Bruce Elliott to oversee the job.
I don't have a background in marine science at all.
He's a clean slate. He's unspoilt by old practices and free from the bias of all those years of scientific research.
My background is primarily in working for the federal government for pretty much all of my career. Defence, tax, and now the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority.
Oh, finally the Great Barrier Reef's tax problems are over. And since this was Bruce Elliott's first exposure to the marine sciences, he must have wanted to make a really good first impression and ensure the reef would be safe before deciding to go ahead with any proposal. So, how did the scientific community think he went?
In the end, they wanted the cheapest, quickest, dirtiest option at Abbott Point, and that's what they got.
Oh, but can you blame the guy? It was his first day. And there are a lot of factors to juggle here. Environmental, corporate, economic, political, the global effect, the effect on the local residents, and the effect on those coral orgies. So in an effort to simplify it all, I think it's time we help the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority understand the reef and their own job by asking the question, what if it were a sandwich?
We take an issue that's hard to understand, which and ask the question, what if it were a sandwich?
As always here on If It Were a Sandwich, I'm joined by sandwologist Clark Richards. Clark, tell us, what would the Great Barrier Reef be like if it were a sandwich?
Originally, the Great Barrier Reef sandwich was a 344,400 kilometre square sandwich with over 1,600 distinct sandwich ingredients, full of bright, diverse colours. You had your greens, your reds, your yellows, your endangered dugongs.
Clark, I have to say, it sounds pretty tasty. Can I eat it?
Oh, no. This sandwich was the largest of its kind, a natural wonder of the sandwich world. Millions came to bask in its glory.
Yeah, people love to travel to see big shit. I really want to eat it.
But thanks to that lack of care and people generally putting pollutants into the sandwich, the Great Barrier Reef sandwich is now, well, it looks like this. We take white bread, made white due to rising fridge temperatures, which kill off the algae, which naturally gave the bread its glorious colours in the first place. And we take a dead fish. This fish was poisoned, but any dead fish will do. Then we drizzle 100 million tonne of sediment on the thing because, hey, there's plenty of other sandwiches in the sea.
Clark, I have to say, this is really disturbing. Still going to eat it, though.
No, Jesus, you'll die. Tom, please. Now, if you'd like the recipe to make this sandwich, it is available on our Facebook page. Unfortunately, your fridge will be completely ruined because this kind of destruction of a sandwich has serious runoff.
We took an issue that was hard to understand, and we asked the question, what if it were a sandwich?
Have you ever thought that comparing a tourism icon and natural wonder of the world to a sandwich made more sense than the decision to dump dredge runoff into it? We'd love to hear about it at The Roast TV or hashtag RoastTV.
Yeah, I think comparing it to a sandwich makes complete sense. That's why we did the segment.
I'm not talking to you, Tom. I'm talking to strangers on the internet.
You're lonely like me, are you, voiceover guy?
Absolutely not. I have many fulfilling relationships.
Now, it's not just the current government that's being questioned over its reef protection record. It's also the former government. Back in 2012, the then Labor government approved a coal project that could put the reef at risk. That project was led by GVK Hancock, a company co-owned by Gina Reinhardt, who'll probably earn more money by the time this tiny TV show is over than you will in your entire life. Anyway, Labor approved it, but at a price.
The Labor government demanded $800,000 a year in biodiversity offsets from GVK Hancock due to the environmental impacts of its proposed coal terminal.
And sure, that sounds like a pretty cheap deal for annual rights to take a steaming dredge dump on heritage-listed natural wonders, but at least GVK Hancock will pay for their damage, right?
GVK Hancock considered this amount excessive and put in a counter-offer of $375,000 a year.
To which the government said, you can take that counter-offer and shove it down your coal mine, right?
The government acquiesced to this bargaining with a figure of $600,000 a year, eventually deemed an adequate amount.
If the success of governments is measured by getting totally owned by miners, it might be time to reassess the Rudd-Gillard legacy. Jazz Twemlow joins us now. Jazz, should we be angered that the mining industry is getting away with this?
Should we be angered that carbon-polluting, climate-skeptic iron ore gluttons are damaging the Great Barrier Reef? No, this is what massively rich miners do. They don't do environmentally responsible things. It's no more surprising than the headline, Dark Lord of the Sith fails to tip waitress. No, the real blame here is with Labor.
Yes, they should have tipped the waitress.
No, for putting up about as much resistance to GVK Hancock as Tom Cruise does to a script about a supposedly impossible mission. They said yes to GVK Hancock's request to change a stipulation that coal dust should not enter the Great Barrier Reef environment. Who says yes when a company asks to put dust underwater? You wouldn't hire a cleaning service that swept all your mess into your own pool.
Labor would.
As for the biodiversity offsets, why is there any amount of money you can pay that would allow you to kill off an organism that's visible from space? And if there is an amount, make it painful for a multi-billion-dollar industry. $600,000? That's a shit flat in Sydney. I mean, is there an ocean abuse pricing system here? If I give Labor $10,000, will they let me punch a dugong? Or, here's a crazy thought, take that dredge soil and put it somewhere other than the ocean. The mining industry owns a lot of big holes in the ground. Fill some of those up. At least that way you could stop treating the ocean like you're rich alcoholics on a picnic. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Jazz. Now, look, I know that was the 60s, but looking at the clip now, I have to say I'm appalled by the blatant littering. It really makes you wonder whether in 50 years' time, our dumping in the reef will be viewed the same way. Nah, they're not going to make a TV show about that. It's too depressing. And I know what'll cheer me up. I have a sandwich around here somewhere. But hey, there it is. Okay.
Stop trying to eat it!
No, I've still got time to enjoy the Great Barrier Reef sandwich. Oh, no, we're